Welcome to Blueprints. I'm Bodine Sanders, your producer and host. Joining me today is Reverend April M. Martin, pastor of the Mount Zion AME Church in Devon. Pastor Martin is going to share some wonderful news about an upcoming event. Let's start off with the wonderful news that you want to share with the community about the 175th church anniversary.
We are very excited about our anniversary. Our theme is going to be celebrating first. Celebrating first. And I'd love to tell you that it is September 21st. At 12 o'clock at the Devon Hotel. And the reason that we picked the theme of celebrating first is because Mount Zion African Methodist Episcopal Church is the first African American church of any denomination on the entire main line. We have a guest list lined up that's very exciting to us that I'd like to share. Dr. Tamara Thomas Smith, Superintendent of Upper Mainline School District. She is the first Black woman superintendent there. We also are going to be celebrating Lillian D. Baptiste. And it's very unique because her and her mother are the first to serve together as licensed funeral directors in Chester County, as well as her father was mayor of Westchester, which is the seat of the county, and she also served as mayor. So that's a daughter-father duo there. We have invited Rose Fennell. She is the first Black woman to serve as superintendent of Valley Forge Historic National Park. She'll be joining us, as well as Sheriff Kevin D. Dykes, the first Black man to serve as sheriff of Chester County. With us also is Pat Nogar. She is the first Black and the first woman to serve as the rector's warden for the historic Washington Memorial Chapel at Valley Forge. And our very own Reverend Marilyn J. Tennell. She is our first Black woman clergy at Mount Zion in its whole 175 years history. And of course, I hope they're going to celebrate me. I am the first woman pastor of Mount Zion. And we are excited and anxiously waiting to hear whether or not State Representative Joanna McClinton will be able to join us. She is the first woman and woman of color, Black woman, to serve as Speaker of the House in the state of Pennsylvania. So we have a great lineup of firsts as we celebrate our 175th year serving our community and beyond.
Well, that is wonderful, all in wonderful news. It sounds very exciting. Normally, with my program, Blueprints, the first question I asked my guest is share your positive perspective on diversity. We just heard a diverse group of guests that's going to be attending your event. Again, diversity is not just about skin color, right? Ethnicity, right? It's about differences in culture, differences in the way you were brought up, in your background and so forth, your job, the car you drive, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, the music you listen to. It's just about the entire comprehensive self. So, but share with the audience your positive perspective on diversity.
Well, we are seated in Devon, and our area is very mixed. We have our Caucasian brothers and sisters, our Asian brothers and sisters, and we come together for purpose and cause. And so when we're doing things like diaper giveaways, or even if we want to enjoy each other, having a barbecue, and actually August 17th, we're going to have one of our famous barbecues. And the community is excited about it. We all gather around and we talk, we laugh. Our community, our neighbors, as we say, they are very much interested in what we're doing with our original building, because that's a project that we're working on. And everyone loves it. It doesn't matter who they are. When our doors are open, it doesn't matter whether they're Indian, walking, riding. Everyone stops in to share our great history, as well as, we have a very large cemetery, and we have 20 named and one unnamed Civil War soldier. So during a lot of the military and veterans days, the whole community, no matter what branch of service you serve, what color, what creed, we all gather together to honor those who've served our country and given their lives.
Well, that is also wonderful news, great information. So let's talk about, and because you touched base on it a little bit, on the community of Devon. I'm familiar with the community of Devon a little bit because I attended Villanova. And so let's talk about the community in your congregation. You may have a small group of folks on the main line that attend your church, but I'm sure you have some folks that are outside the main line that attend your church. Let's talk about those folks.
One of the things that occurred during COVID, we went to Zoom. Mm-hmm. Churches went to Zoom. And that really opened up churches as far as their fellowship. And so we have people that attend our service on Zoom from Florida. I have relatives that attend from Florida and New Jersey, Coatesville, and some of them have actually decided to come and join our church. I have a family from New Jersey who'll drive and come to services, and it's just good to be able to fellowship. But I think Zoom really did that for a lot of churches. And there's a lot of churches in that small area where we are. That area serves the Baptist of the Great Valley, St. Luke, a lot of churches, and we support each other. We support each other in various functions, and we work together. Like, we're planning to all come together to do Christmas singing around a tree. We had a neighborhood fest when all the congregations gathered together to just let people know who we are and how we can best serve one another. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's again, great information about the community. And how does that circle around the 175th anniversary? Let's talk about the main event, the 175th anniversary. Share more of that information about that event. Or you could just talk more about the history of Mount Zion Church.
Okay, let me talk about the history. Mount Zion originally started in 1849 with people of like-minded African Americans would gather and worship home to home. And then they decided they wanted to build a place where they could come together. And they started building the church. But when the Civil War broke out, many of the men, they left and served in the Civil War. And like I said, some of those men are actually still buried in our cemetery. But when they were able to come back, they placed the cornerstone in 1861. And so that is our original building, and that is the building that we are looking to restore. We're writing for grants. It's a $1.7 million project. We're writing from grants, hopefully, to restore that. And we actually did receive a grant it was a matching grant, $34,000, and a neighbor in our community who didn't belong to our church but would come when she passed. She actually willed us $34,000, and so we got that together and we restored our stained glass windows. Those windows are 102 years old, and we are actually rededicating them September 8th at 2 o'clock. One of the things I love about our community is we're history buffs. And so we have a lot of people that contact us and ask us, what are you doing with your church? How can I get involved? And so we are looking, like I said, to restore that church, and that's going to be talked about as well at our anniversary. People want to know, what are y'all doing? Because it's too beautiful and too important to let it ruin, and we agree.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Talk about the location of the anniversary. Where is it going to take place? At the Desmond Hotel?
Yes, sir. At the Desmond Hotel in Malvern on, like I said, September 21st at 12 o'clock. I also want to mention, as part of our history, we were very much involved in the 1932-34 school fight. During that time in our community, our African American and Caucasian students, elementary school students, went to school together, even though the law of the land was segregation. Well, when the community built a new school, they decided to segregate. And the African American families, they worked together. They did boycotts, sit-ins, they did all of the pre-civil rights thing. It was like a dress rehearsal for our modern day civil rights. And after 2 years, it was reversed, and the students could attend the new school. Unfortunately, some students never went back to school. Some moved away. But that's something that our local community really never found out about until we brought it out about 5 years ago. And now even different school districts has implemented this history as part of their curriculum for all grade levels. So we are very excited to work with Different Township to educate everyone about the history of their area and Mount Zion's role they played in it.
Well, let's talk about the role of education, right?
Yes.
I grew up attending Sunday school.
Yes.
And before church. And so I understood and learned how the importance of education was in my development. Let's talk about, the history of your church in relation again to education, and then I'm gonna hit you with, I brought my Cheney hat. Cheney hat, and we're gonna talk about Cheney versus Lincoln. But let's hold off on that. Let's talk about the church's role in education.
Well, like I said, we have partnered with Different Township to teach the kids about the history of the Berwyn school fight. Actually, the school has and the church has arranged for tours. So some of the kids from the school have come and have toured the historic church as well as the cemetery. And we would give a little talk, serve a little snacks, but it's been really, really good. We have been able to get this information out, and people all across the country have contacted us asking us about the history of Mount Zion and the role we played in that school fight, assistant parents, teaching the kids. Our parsonage was set up to teach the children while they were waiting for this school fight to be resolved.
So Let's talk about education from an HBCU perspective.
Yes.
You have an affiliation with an HBCU. I have an affiliation. Before I began my college career at the oldest HBCU in the United States, Cheney University, before I transferred to Villanova. And you have an affiliation with Lincoln University. Tell me about that, your experience with Lincoln University, and because I haven't been on Lincoln's campus probably in about 30 years. So share with the audience your experience with Lincoln.
Well, I actually have only been at Lincoln for 3 years. I started my third year in July. And I tell you, it's beautiful. I don't know where I've been, what took me so long to get here. But as you know, Lincoln is the first grant degreeing HBCU. Amen. And they have beautiful buildings that they have just built. The renovations that are going on is absolutely fantastic. This is so much country and green air, green grass, and just smells fresh until it's just exciting to see the kids, many of whom come from the inner city. They're like, oh my goodness, horse and buggy. I said, yes, honey, it's all right. It's okay, But yes, I love it here. And I am one of the nurses here, actually, in the health services department. But I also have the opportunity to be an adjunct professor in the biology department, teaching anatomy and physiology labs. And I love it because it gives me a chance to pour into these kids. And I think when a child comes to one of these schools, that's the greatest asset. I believe that coming from our experience, coming from where they come from, we can pour into these kids and really encourage them and walk with them. I put my arms around them. I tell them, I'm your grandmother who takes care of you while you're here, okay? And so it's been a wonderful experience, and I just look forward to continuing my career here.
Well, they're obviously on good footing, constantly hearing good things about Lincoln. And we know Cheney, matter of fact, Governor Shapiro was at Cheney yesterday. So I know Cheney is, again, working really hard to create a solid foundation for themselves. So we're going to give them the time that they deserve to do that. But I love highlighting HBCUs because if it wasn't for Cheney, there would be no Villanova, because I left Cheney to attend Villanova. But one of my first experiences, I remember taking that, could have been a 45-minute drive, maybe an hour drive from Cheney to Lincoln, and going through the mushroom farms, right? Learning that was mushroom farm area. And it reminded me of Florida, in which I was born and raised, because of so many rural parts and farmland, be it fruit or animal farming. So I appreciated Lincoln, and folks should be very, very proud of Lincoln. I know lately we've been having this conversation about HBCUs, but what I've learned over time is a lot of our white brothers and sisters are attending HBCUs. And talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a significant number, not only, our white youth, but we are in Kennett Square and Oxford area. So we have a lot of Mexican students here as well. This school, I love their outreach even in Africa. We have many students here from Africa. Actually, I'm going to be meeting with them on Friday from the Caribbean. And so the diversity is real at these schools, and not only with our students, but with our faculty and staff as well.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Because I've read, during the process of me writing my book, I had an opportunity to meet a gentleman who was at Temple University majoring in criminal justice because he wanted to become an FBI agent. And he went on to take a couple of classes at Cheney University. And this is probably back in the 50s, 60s. And I asked him, I said, really? I said, Cheney had white students at Cheney? He was like, yes, absolutely. Because Cheney offered particular classes that in criminal justice that weren't offered anywhere else. And so that opened my eyes, because when I was at Cheney for that one semester, I honestly don't remember if I had noticed a white student. They could have been commuting, they could have been living on campus. I didn't notice it because I was just a freshman, wet behind the ears, and I was focused on football and making the team. But I've come to learn over time, like Deion Sanders, when he was coaching at Jackson State, he had a number of white student athletes on his team. And I said, folks should open their minds to the opportunity of attending, meaning our white brothers and sisters and their parents should open their minds to attending an HBCU, because there are some HBCUs out there that are highly credited, like Howard, Lincoln, and a few others out there that have outstanding programs, educational programs and curriculum. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree. I know our biology department is phenomenal. Our students are constantly going across the country, winning scholarships. They're being published. We've received hundreds of thousands of dollars in research grants, all behind the work of these students. And so many of them are going forward to be doctors, going into pre-med. They're going on to become biologists. And I am just so proud of our biology department. I don't know what to do. Many doctors are coming here. They're speaking. There's all kinds of internship possibilities that these students have. There's a lot of foreign exchange students that we get involved with. So it's a lot. There's a lot to take advantage of in the HBCU.
Well, that was a great information. Thank you so much. We only have a few minutes left, so let's turn back to the 175th church anniversary celebration happening on September 21st from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you want to go ahead and share, how can people find additional information about this event? If you want to, so you want to start with that. If you want to quickly go over the list of the folks that will be attending, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. So let me just say that there are some activities preceding the grand day, the 175th. On August 17th, we are having one of our famous barbecues outside from 12 to 6 p.m. or whenever food runs out, but it usually runs out quick. But we're having ribs and chicken, corn on the cob, baked beans, greens, cake, the juice, and we even developed a specialized all beef hot dog that will be introduced, and I call it Mount Zion's own special hot dog. And then September 8th, again, we are rededicating and consecrating our stained glass windows. That will begin at 2 o'clock at Mount Zion, 380 North Fairfield Road in Devon. And actually, the couple, Meslick, who restored our stained glass windows, will also be there just to talk about the process of how that was done. The windows are 102 years old, and it's interesting because they only cost $12 to buy, each one of them, in the 1920s. It was close to $17,000 to restore each of them in 2024. So we have that. And then again on September 21st at 12 o'clock at the Desmond Hotel, we will be celebrating our 175th with a celebration of first, since we are the first African American church of any denomination on the entire main line. Our guests include Dr. Tamara Thomas Smith, who is superintendent of Upper Mainline School. She is the first Black woman to serve in that capacity. Rose Fennell, who is the first Black woman to serve as superintendent of the Valley Forge Historic National Park. Sheriff Kevin Dykes, the first African American gentleman to serve as sheriff of Chester County. Pat Nagar, she is the first Black woman to serve as the rector's warden for the historic Washington Memorial Chapel at Valley Forge. Lillian D. Baptiste, she and her mother were the first to serve as licensed funeral directors in Chester County. And then Lillian went on to serve as mayor of Westchester after her father. We're also going to honor our own Marilyn Tennell. She is a local elder, and she's the first Black clergy to serve Mount Zion in 175 years. And then I'm going to jump up and down and dance, since I'm the first woman pastor of Mount Zion. And we are eagerly awaiting a response from the office of Joanna McClinton. We have invited her as Speaker of the House of Pennsylvania, because she is the first woman and first woman of color to serve as Speaker. So we are celebrating first, and we are excited to do so. And we want everyone to come out and be with us. It's going to be a day of celebration, good food, good people, good time.
Well, you know, that's a lot of information. Thank you so much. Where is the barbecue taking place? Because I think I might need to be there. You
better come on to the barbecue. It's going to be at our church, and that's 380 North Fairfield Road in Devon. And I also want to give you our website, because we want people to flood our website with questions. You know, our flyers there, my phone number is there, information about our history is there. And so there's such great information. It is historic Mount Zion Devon. As historic, and then Mount just MT, historic Mount Zion Devon.org.
Thank you. Well, I have two shout outs before we wrap this up. I want to shout out Dr. Infante, who connected us together, right? And then I want to shout out Elder Smith, who is a wonderful person who we both know, who've been instrumental in making this happen. And so thank you, Pastor Martin, for being my guest today. Much luck to you in the celebration with
Thank you so much.
With your congregation, your church, your community. So folks, we've come to the end of our program. Thank you for your time. Stay tuned. There's more to come on this Mainline Network.